Hey everyone! Today, we are diving into the world of horse racing and taking a closer look at some of the top 2-year-olds in Britain and Ireland. Now, I know what you might be thinking, 2-year-olds? Isn't that a bit too early to be making predictions? But hear me out. These young horses are already making waves, and their potential is something to get excited about. So, let's kick things off with Celeron, a colt with a real fighting spirit. Celeron, by Mahather out of Fatalist, has already proven himself in the ring. He started with a bang, belting odds of 18-1 when he ran out a 2-length winner of a Curragh maiden in June. But it wasn't just a one-hit wonder. He bounced back in style, breaking better, and running out a 3-length winner of the Group 2 Railway Stakes on his return to the Curragh under Oisin Murphy. Now, the question on everyone's mind is, where's he headed next? Well, his trainer, Michael O'Callaghan, is thinking big. He's got his sights set on the National Stakes and even the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. But the real question is, what's his big 2027 target? O'Callaghan hints that as Celeron steps up to 7 furlongs or a mile, we'll see the best of him. So, the 2,000 guineas is on the table, and he's currently backed at 50-1 for the Newmarket Group 1. Now, let's move on to Wild Blossom, a filly with a real burst of speed. She picked up for 300,000 guineas at the Tattersalls Craven Breeze Up sale and looked a potentially above-average filly when she streaked 10 lengths clear of her rivals in a Carlisle Novice on her debut in May. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. She found the Queen Mary too hot at Royal Ascot and appreciated the drop into calmer waters when she justified 5-4 favouritism in the Alice Keppel Fillies Conditions Stakes at Glorious Goodwood last week. Now, her trainer, Carl Burke, described her as a very quick filly, but didn't rule out a step up in trip next. Her owners, Wathanan Racing, have their eyes on the Group 2 Lothian Stakes at York's Ebbea meeting, and longer term, the Group 2 Flying Childer Stakes at Doncaster's St. Leger meeting. So, what's her big 2027 target? Well, with her speed, she's likely to be on the radar for many of the big 5 and 6 furlong group races, with a return to Goodwood for the King George Stakes among the many options. Now, let's shift gears and talk about Pashada, a filly with a real fighting spirit. She recorded RPRs of 63 and 66 when she was a beaten favourite on her first 2 starts but has improved significantly since then. She claimed a Goodwood Novice and finished a 33-1 fourth in the Queen Mary. On the back of that showing, she was sent off the 11-4 favourite for the Group 3 Molcombe Stakes at Glorious Goodwood last week and won by 2 lengths in fine style under Sean Levy. Now, her trainer, Richard Hannon, says she'll have a great chance in the Nunthorpe Stakes at York, a race the trainer's father won with juvenile filly Lyric Fantasy in 1992. Pashada will carry only 8 stone 2 pounds in that Group 1 contest, and her owners, Middleham Park Racing, have booked 3-time champion Silvestre de Souza. So, what's her big 2027 target? A sprint campaign looks most likely, and victory at York later this month would surely see her season revolve around a return to that track to defend her Nunthorpe title. Now, let's talk about Victorious, a 2-year-old with a real fighting spirit. Despite being blind in one eye, she's quickly developed into one of O'Brien's most exciting 2-year-olds this season. After impressing on her debut at Nars in April, she was quickly pitched into Group 3 company back at that track 3 weeks later when showing a good attitude to fend off Mo Racing's controller, with the front 2 pulling 6 lengths clear of the remainder. She continued her progress by winning the Queen Mary at the Royal Meeting next in an impressive time, and that race has received numerous form boosts since. Now, like Celeron, she's entered in this weekend's Phoenix Stakes, but her trainer, Aidan O'Brien, suggested that stablemates Great Barrier Reef, Sun, Goddess, and Man's Best Friend look more likely to run on Sunday. Should Victorious miss the race, she could head to York for the Lothian Stakes in a fortnight. So, what's her big 2027 target? Well, last year's Queen Mary winner, True Love, went on to win the 1,000 guineas at 3, and most firms have Victorious as the 8-1 favourite for the Newmarket Classic. While she clearly has plenty of pace, her dam is a sister to Oaks winners Minding and Tuesday, so a trip to Ipswich could also enter calculations. Now, let's talk about Orthodox, a colt with a real burst of speed. He shaped with plenty of promise when he ran out a 2.5-length winner at Salisbury on his debut before shining in the Norfolk Stakes at Royal Ascot. In a field of 21, Orthodox chased a frenetic pace set by Wesley Ward's 3 challengers before pouncing inside the final furlong and drawing clear by an impressive 3.5 lengths. Now, after the victory, his trainer, Clive Cox, said the colt would have no issue stepping up to 6 furlongs and cited the Prix Robert Papin in July as a possible target. But a setback ruled him out of that assignment. Instead, it seems more likely we'll see Orthodox in the Group 1 Prix Morny at Deauville on August 23. He's entered in the Group 2 Mill Reef Stakes at Newbury next month. So, what's his big 2027 target? Well, with his pedigree, expect races like the King Charles III Stakes and Nunthorpe to be firmly on his radar. Finally, let's talk about Alhudaiba, a colt with a real fighting spirit. He's provided some memorable moments in a tricky season for his trainer, Charlie Appleby. Most notably, he showed plenty of determination to get the better of Abraham Lincoln in the Superlative Stakes at Newmarket in July. Godolphin's colt showed plenty of determination to get the better of Abraham Lincoln in that Group 2 contest, which has been won in recent years by subsequent classic winners Native Trail and City of Troy. Alhudaiba was third behind Dr. Rascal in the Vintage Stakes at Glorious Goodwood last week, when he came out best at the weights, having been beaten just half a length while conceding 3 pounds to all 5 of his rivals. Now, following the Vintage, Appleby suggested an international campaign was likely to be on the cards for Alhudaiba, saying, "I'll probably go travelling with him." Canada for the Summer Stakes screams out. That race is on September 12 at Woodbine, while later in the year, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf looks a likely target. So, what's his big 2027 target? Well, Alhudaiba is a best price 33-1 for the 2,000 guineas and may come into the race on the back of a trip to Dubai, which is a path Appleby has followed in recent years. So, there you have it, folks. These 2-year-olds are already making waves, and their potential is something to get excited about. Now, I'm not saying they'll all win the big races, but they've got the talent and the drive to go far. So, keep an eye on them, and let's see what the future holds for these young stars.